All right. Let me test this thing out real quick. Let me test the audio. Make sure everything is good. Make sure everything is good. All right. Make sure everything is okay. Do some promotion real quick. Yeah, not often I really get to do this, huh? All right. Let's put this here. Okay. 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 Welcome on in. Okay. I've got a few things to talk about. No Dieter tonight, but I will likely be joining this space tomorrow late afternoon. Got a few things to talk about. I guess the biggest news of the past week, other than the ongoing Epstein file saga. What the hell? Link, post, live now. All right. Put this here. There we go. Excuse me, damn. All right, we're going to actually find the conference. Oh, got the full thing here. That's good. How's it going? Make yourself known. Just doing a little bit of promotion. Everything is where it should be. All right, here we go. Link here. Bada bing. Okay. All right. So, this happened on the 21st. President Donald Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani they talked about their discussion that they had at the White House. Hello, there you are. They Mamdani is consistent as fuck. He really was, and even in the interview post meeting, which I think we'll cover that as well. He made sure to bring everything back to New York City, the 5 boroughs, focusing on delivering for the people that he's going to represent. Me and Dieter actually talked on the phone earlier about the implications of the meeting and Mamdani's status as a Democrat superstar right now. And basically, we can't expect the sun and the moon and the stars from him, but we also can't get upset when his primary focus isn't national. It's not national politics. That's not his focus right now. And a lot of MAGA troll farm accounts across social media are trying to claim that the left and the Democrats are melting down. They feel betrayed over Zohran Mamdani taking this meeting with Trump. It's just like you're just making that shit up completely out of thin air. So let's go ahead and share the screen here. Get on over here to YouTube. Hey, there we go. That actually worked out quite smoothly. Let's see. What looks best here? I guess we'll do this. All right. Bada bang, bada boom. Whoop. So Mamdani's going into this meeting because after just back and forth pettiness, hostilities, Trump's talking up a storm, trying to low-key threaten New York City by stripping federal funding if they don't bend towards his whim, et cetera, et cetera. And in the lead up to the meeting itself, Fox News was even like, oh, well, Zohran Mamdani's entering this meeting at a disadvantage because he needs that federal funding. So he and all their rhetoric, all their attacks just fell completely flat after this conference, which I haven't seen the full thing of, but I have seen a few clips, and I have a lot of thoughts about this, as well as his Mamdani's position as a leftist figure right now in America. Let's go.
Thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people.
Keep in mind, I think Trump endorsed Andrew Cuomo, if I'm not mistaken, and Cuomo lost, obviously.
And he beat him easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. That anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York, and we've got them down way down from last year.
The thing about the affordability talking point is, they are linking Mamdani's win to how the cost of living is just batshit insane across the board. So of course that would appeal to New York City voters, because keep in mind, conservatives in general, a lot of right wing figures, especially Republicans in the House and the Senate, and even in state houses and state senates and whatnot, everybody's so disconnected from their constituents, the actual voters, the working class, and that also tended to play into the reasons why Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning, among other things. But it goes to show who is actually focused on what matters and who isn't. But I digress.
As you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a
Make
strong
New
and
York
very
City
safe New
great
York.
again.
And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president. I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I got a question for you and then also one for the mayor-elect. For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Could you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question. And on your first part, I mean, he's got views that a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term.
Total
And I can
bullshit.
tell you, some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
It's so funny. It's just such a contrast from before this meeting. Hold on, let me close my goddamn door. All right.
Days ago, you put President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve the relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views. And what I really appreciate about the president is the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focus on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please. Good.
It's just so funny. Like, I really wish I was a fly on the wall in their actual meeting, like just to see Mamdani actually charm the pants off of Trump. You know, Trump's a New Yorker at heart, and I'm sure, like, I just want to know what exactly, like, what sparked, what was the spark for Trump that I was like, oh wow, this guy's actually pretty great.
Ask a question about the Middle East regarding
Sure.
the usage that said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is as minor unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like, what do you say for Lebanon today? It's the
Yeah.
state of Lebanon.
And notice also, Trump didn't actually answer the question that the first guy had. He didn't. He said that they talked about Netanyahu getting arrested in New York City, and if Trump would allow that to happen. He said they talked about that, but he didn't actually answer whether or not he would allow that, which Mamdani has said Netanyahu steps foot in New York City. According to international law, you got to enforce that arrest warrant. Interesting.
Your next move to push toward disarmament.
Sure. Well, we are.
All he had to say was, "You love building in New York. I want to build more housing in New York." And yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's the thing too. Trump is so easy to sway. Like there's the meeting that he had. I think it was some billionaire banker, that according to the reporting, he literally, because it got past vetting apparently, he brought in two big, I guess, images, one of FDR, one of Trump, and with basically the point being, these are two great presidents, and because I believe FDR introduced the 30-year mortgage, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. And next to FDR was Trump, and his pitch was basically like, Trump, you could lower the cost of housing, which, I mean, you wouldn't by doing this, but you could be the president that introduces 50-year mortgages, which is a fucking horrendous idea for a myriad of reasons. But all he had to do was butter Trump up and just sing his praises. And right after that, Trump posted on Truth Social, like, we want to introduce a 50-year mortgage plan to help struggling Americans purchase their first home. It's just like, all you have to do is just kiss Trump's ass as much as possible, and you can get whatever you want done. Make him feel like he's smart. Make him feel like he's the greatest. Crazy. Netanyahu went to New York City and didn't get arrested. Pretty sure, like, day one of. Oh, so earlier this month? Really? I didn't know that. Well, then, I mean, Mamdani's not in office, though, right? I don't think he actually takes office for. When? Let me actually look. Excuse me. I had some curry and it's like screwing up my throat. When is the New York City mayoral inauguration? Oh, it's January 1st. There will be a swearing-in ceremony on January 1st. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, 30-year mortgages then same level as bad as 50-year mortgages now. Yeah, now 30-year mortgages are seen as like kind of like the standard. I think, they're just so common now. They're just so commonplace. I do agree with there is rhetoric on the right that's being espoused now. I've heard JD Vance talk about it. Like, oh, we just need to build more housing units. We need to build millions more homes and whatnot, as if that wasn't already Biden's plan or Harris's plan, or hell, Gavin Newsom's plan. It's like they're just playing catch up. I mean, these are like obvious things. Anyway, let's continue.
Pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and frankly everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything.
Which is a total fucking bullshit lie. Not even remotely close to true. 20 trillion.
Like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or 21 trillion dollars. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem, and Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common.
I want to know who the fuck is actually giving him those numbers? Like those figures have to come from somewhere, and they're not actually what he's saying they are. That's like those figures represent something else entirely. Certainly fucking not investment.
Want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now for the first time peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years, and now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Oh, I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East.
We desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the.
Which is why we have an invasion force just parked outside Venezuelan waters.
Cost of living crisis, and I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that. I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
you threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents
Right.
in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you called ICE.
Talking about ICE now. Total amount of all investment promised over like a 15, 20-year period. Well, I mean, a lot can change. I mean, with how elections go nowadays, could have 3 or 4 different administrations during that period. We'll see, though.
A rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out. And I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some really bad people, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe.
Sorry the pause is so off, but there's obviously a lot to talk about here, and I don't do these shows anymore. But with each passing day, the public perception regarding ICE grows more and more and more negative, especially with the more heinous actions and atrocious behavior of ICE agents, which there are definitely plenty of examples to give. Also, by the way, the right wing says build housing by lowering regulations was been yes, right, yeah. Democrats say government subsidized housing construction. I mean, I think both. I think you can do both. Subsidize state state funded housing. I guess you could say affordable housing. Of course, it depends on where it's done, but also cutting regulations away so that way permitting and what have you is expedited so that way building can actually get done. Oh, what did I do here? What the hell? Max, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I want either. There was a much I haven't used this in a while, so we'll just do that. I only made the right articles. Oh, dude was here 50 years, brutally deported in handcuffs, and 25 of those years serving time for murder. Yeah, I'm sure that happens. But then you get stories about, what was it? Fucking ICE agents raping people. Subsidized housing is opposite. Not to mention manslaughter, I think, has been going on as well. I don't know. I'm not as in tune. I find I'm at much more better peace of mind, tuning out of politics a bit more. Subsidized housing is opposite helpful for affordability. When has the government even partially interfered in the market and made it cheaper? Well, I'm sure there's some examples. I'm sure there's some examples.
New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else.
Because the thing is, it just comes down to rent, most of all, because most people rent. And if government's not stepping in and preventing housing from being bought in bulk from giant corporations and whatnot, or big housing conglomerates like private conglomerates and shit. What happened twice in the last 48 hours? What are you referring to?
We can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe, he wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out, maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
You have two questions, and I want you from BBC in a second. But first of all, to the mayor-elect, you're both from different parts of the political perspective. You're both populists, and I just wondered to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media, he's inspired any part
Well, I actually told the president that, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters,
I haven't seen those yet, or I haven't seen anything about those. I also look at ground news because it's obviously a blind spot for me and the limited amount that I follow nowadays. Also, I want to just comment on Mamdani here, like just the discipline he has and the focus. He just always stays on message. It always goes back to his core key concerns, and that's what makes him so effective because he means it. He actually believes in something. He actually has policies to back it up. That's what separates him from a lot of would-be Democratic leaders or like leading Democratic figures, so to speak.
who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices because, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. If we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering the rates.
Absolutely.
And last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to see BBC got $5 billion. You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, I think they have some big energy problems. They've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods because their energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man. I haven't spoken this week.
Now, he's a politician like Obama, good speaker, not going to follow through on most things. That depends on a lot of things. I actually do believe that Mamdani is going to follow through on a lot of these things because it depends on if he can get the actual funding for it because it's going to come down to obstruction. There's Obama sold out pretty damn quickly. Not to mention he didn't actually believe in very much to begin with. I mean, for crying out loud, he had to borrow. Well, he had to steal the Affordable Care Act, basically what the health care plan that was authored by the Heritage Foundation, which Mitt Romney used in his state. So I mean, I saw, I think it was either Vosh or it might have been Hassan covering it, but one of the biggest differences between Mamdani and people like Pete Buttigieg, great messengers, great speakers, great rhetoricians, so to speak, but Pete Buttigieg doesn't actually believe in anything. He doesn't champion any policy ideas. Mamdani does. Equally economically illiterate. I mean, that remains to be seen.
Who? I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened.
I'd say that Obama was actually a bit more economically, what's the word I'm looking for? Responsible than people give him credit for. But I mean, the dude was a sellout, didn't believe in much, and just did kind of what he was told.
It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. Yeah, we have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it. It's just so sad. So many people. Last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something, we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers. And it goes on and on. And
Ukraine, Russia, I believe.
I think they're getting reasonably close, but I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals of countries, including India, Pakistan.
That's right, Thunderbird. It's a classic quote at this point. I concepts of a plan. It's like, I mean, for fuck's sake, I don't know how. If you guys watched the show last week that I did with Dieter, we did kind of get into the whole shutdown drama, and the reason why it was shut down in the first place is because the Democrats wanted to protect the health care of millions of Americans. I mean, for one, preventing millions of Americans from losing their health care and millions more seeing their healthcare premiums double, if not triple, over the next year, because Republicans would not extend the Affordable Care Act credits that would keep, everybody's prices low. We just need a fucking goddamn universal single payer healthcare system already, for crying out loud.
You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead.
I think you're absolutely right about that, Megan, because he wants credit for it. He wants it to be about him. He wants to put his name on everything. He's like a fucking dog. He has to like piss on this and piss on that. Oh, this is mine now. Oh, it was yours. It was successful under you. I'm gonna ruin it and then make it my own. That's literally that's him in a fucking nutshell, dude. And so, and that actually kind of ties into this meeting here, this conference, because he believes in Mamdani. I truly believe that. He wants to be able to tie himself to Mamdani's success. If Mamdani can convince Trump, like, this is what I believe in, this is what I want to do for New York, I truly believe Trump will help him succeed because it makes Trump look good.
And we worked something out on that. But so many, and the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been maybe quicker. But it does take 2 to tango. And now you see all the death. And, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people that really, it's on the other side of the ocean.
Sure, yeah. It's about his image. It's about the image. It's about the optics more than anything. So, if it looks good, even if it's not successful, because Trump's not a fucking bastion or a beacon of career-long successes. He's had multiple failures, multiple miserable failures throughout his entire career, throughout his entire life. But if he can make a show out of it, make it seem grand and big and popular more than it actually is, that's ultimately all that matters. It's all about the PR, baby.
That's a war that should have never happened. It happened. I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. We're losing 25. Think of that, 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian.
Russia bad.
And it's a shame.
What has the mayor about House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including the basic Democrats, all of House Democrats.
Oh yeah, this stupid vote.
Despite his endorsement. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing. I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
God, he's so fucking based. He's like, yeah, I'm not focused on what the hell's going on in the House right now, the House of Representatives in Washington. I'm focused on like New York City. What's going on here? And so it's like, yeah, like, why would anybody have an issue with that? It's like, because he's like this shiny new figure, coming out of nowhere, building a campaign from nothing. But like, he's not running for House, he's not running for Senate, he's not running for president. He's going to be the mayor of one city. Like, maybe, hopefully, he's a sign of things to come for the Democratic Party, but they're not going to fucking learn much from him. There's gonna be like, oh, we need to be more active on social media. We need to be more hip and cool to kids. No, it always comes back to policy. It always comes back to focusing on your constituents and the policies that you actually stand for and believe in, and harping away at those. Authenticity. That's why Mamdani won so overwhelmingly.
Your answer to Stephen Nelson, he asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, "But President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views." Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about.
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
Okay. It's easier.
Yes.
That's okay, sweetheart. You can call me a fascist if you want to. Ooh woo. Mamdani's just like, I just want to get through this. I'm just here for business.
So about this Ukraine plan,
Yeah.
President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up its partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal.
You mean he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well,
pretending.
he'll have to like it. And if he doesn't like it, then, they should just keep fighting, I guess,
The suggestion that he made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point, he's going to have to accept something. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago.
All
I
right.
said, you
We're
don't
here
have
about
the cards.
Mamdani, not Ukraine,
But again, I
Russia.
inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal
Yeah.
a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been a good deal. That could have been done. Didn't have the right president.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President,
No,
cost of
indeed.
living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on.
Right.
Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that be a question that both of you can answer.
Look, I think that there are many.
Our democratic policy is the problem, because this is a common talking point in MAGA circles on the right. It's like, all these Democrat-run cities, crime-ridden. It's just like, bro, like all the major cities vote Democrat. It's like, because that's where all the people live. But if you look at statewide crime, out of the top 10, I think 8 or 9 out of them are red states. We're talking about crime per capita. So and the reporter's not exactly specific about Democratic policies, making the city worse. But I want to hear what Mamdani actually answers with, though.
No problem. And I'd like that be a question that both of you can answer.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against
That's
a number
a
of
good
candidates
answer.
who represented different versions of that past. And what we
That's a
found
good
time and again
answer.
is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics, so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
Mm-hmm.
We had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. It's sort of an old-fashioned word, but
Word affordability. That was the central piece of Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2015. It's been an issue for fucking ever.
it's very accurate. And they're coming down. They were, we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration. And we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something in a bit?
President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they follow international law, doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it could be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with?
No, I don't know. Would you want to respond?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about, and something that I know many New Yorkers want. We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
What we did is we discussed crime more than ICE per se. We discuss crime, and he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little.
Yeah, they're being a little vague with a conversation here, but when you're 80, 2015 is new. Yeah, that probably seems like fucking last week to Trump, honestly. Let alone Bernie Sanders. But then again, like Bernie Sanders has been saying the exact same thing for decades now.
No doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And we actually people would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing. Please. Jack?
I want to know one of the policies as well that Mayor Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech, you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general. And so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys have spoken about.
We focus on affordability. We focus on the
Seems
cost of
so
living crisis.
chummy.
What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our city.
Hey, speaking your language, Megan.
This idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
What you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the white neighborhood?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Please go.
Trump likes him a lot. Like his because Trump's just like watching his answer basically, right?
It's not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the white neighborhood?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Like he's giving that look like that's a damn good answer. you answered that better than I could.
Please go.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned that Jewish New Yorkers feel involved in the safety of the city, especially Trump threatened to call federal funding to New York City? What policies would cause you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores or something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, subject to what policies are being said. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very, very much today, we'd like to see him come down, ideally by building a lot of additional housing.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, named de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President.
Okay, how about you? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Mamdani was probably actually able to explain everything that he wanted to do with New York City and like everything that he believed in, and basically his agenda in a way that was so simple. So that way Trump can understand, and it also flattered him and appealed to him. So that, and that's why this is such a big moment. That's why this whole meeting became a huge meme and was met with just so much reaction because of just how much you would think these two would be like polar opposites, but like I mean that's really all it takes is some flattery, simple explanations, and standing for something, and also charisma. It can take you far, especially when it comes to Trump.
You're a billionaire. You have different addresses nowadays than you used to. You used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani?
Yeah, I would. I really would, especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
I love this fucking answer. Let's go back one more time.
I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President.
Okay, how about you? Go ahead, please.
You're a billionaire. You have different addresses nowadays than you used to. You used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani?
Yeah, I would. I really would, especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
That is big. You are a billionaire. You've lived in New York. Would you be comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani mayorship? And Trump's like, yeah, no, absolutely, especially after this meeting that we just had. Guys, all the fucking fear mongering about, um, you know, billionaires living in New York City and whatnot, and all the whining and crying on Fox Business and CNBC and fucking shit about, well, if Mamdani becomes mayor, I'm leaving. I'm going to Florida. I'm leaving New York City for good. It's just fucking whining. They're not actually going to fucking follow through with that. Why the hell would they leave New York? Like, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. The Big Apple, its legacy precedes it. No, I think Mamdani is a good communicator, and that's what it takes with Trump. Yeah, no, exactly. Another thing too with this meeting, I truly think Trump is just so tired to the extent that he is cognizant and aware and in tune of things. I think he is tired of this is just my guess. This is just my speculation. I think he's so tired of just the constant endless bullshit that he is being fed every single day by his inner circle. Because he ends up being told shit all the time that is not bared out by reality, not bared out by the facts. And so when he comes across someone authentic and genuine and real, like Mamdani, he's like, "Oh, this is so refreshing." That's just me speculating. But we'll see. We'll see how this dynamic and everything plays out, especially in regards to the fallout of this meeting. Not to mention Mamdani's future, because guys, fucking Trump's gonna be here for another 3 fucking years. So I'm morbidly curious of how this pans out.
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views, but in many ways, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced
Kind
and
of true,
been very
not really
successful
true though.
on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agree.
More more Bernie Sanders votes end up going to Hillary than Trump, than Hillary votes went to Obama instead of John McCain. Not many people know that. Back in 2008.
Done much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, just turned out to be a statistical truth. But no, I feel very comfortable.
No,
I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York. And I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
I have a question for you, but a very good one for
Please.
the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our.
Did
Where's
you?
the bus that
Well,
goes?
but no, but if you flew, that's a lot quicker too. He's working
He's like, because it's quick. That's that's always such a stupid fucking gotcha from right wingers, and the anti like in climate change denialists and whatnot. It's like, oh, if you believe in the affordable energy and cheaper and green energy and whatnot, why did you fly here? What checkmate? Just like it's the quickest way to get around. Like, if you have the job that I have, you fucks.
A very long drive. I'll stick up for you. The plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up how you did it.
Even Trump's just like, because it's fucking quicker, duh.
There was this explosive report.
And Mamdani's answer was great too. Like the focus is cheaper transportation and alternatives to congestion. Because this entire fucking country is built around the automobile.
guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and uses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
Yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know them very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters. Beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any report like that, but certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
I did a piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working countries. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need, not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and work hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the East and everywhere. But do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Yeah, like this whole Zionist angle that like Mamdani is anti-Semitic or whatever. It's just so tired and played out at this point. Like it's unquestionable that the U.S. is complicit in the Israeli wholesale slaughter of Palestinians, the forced removal from their land, the ethnic cleansing. Not to mention the billions that we send into Israel to and to big tech, so that Palantir can build a gigantic digital database. We know where every single body in Palestine, in Gaza, is at all times. It's an open air prison, and they're looking to shrink it even more. It's going to be even more condensed, even more heavily regimented, and all movement, all communications are going to be strictly and stringently monitored. And Peter Thiel is going to be making a hell of a lot of money from it.
Do you view the mayor elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think leadership is a leader Jeffrey Epstein have to follow his lead?
There's the famous picture right there.
The true leader of the Democrat Party. And do you think leadership is a leader?
Look, that's such a cute fucking picture. That's the fucking moment that really made the rounds and generated all sorts of memes. All right, let's actually listen to this guy's question though.
Jeffrey Epstein. Do you view the mayor elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think leadership is a leader Jeffrey Epstein have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused in New York City.
Yeah, he gets it. Like, yeah, this guy's just focused on New York. He's not looking to be like the leader of anything other than, change, positive, beneficial change for New York City. Like bingo. Everything else is just a distraction. Really, though, it's like, what do you think about? That's why a lot of people were upset about. You're heading to trivia. Aw. This video's almost done anyway. Well, you have a good time. I wish you luck. I hope you kick some ass. Trivia's fun. I've actually. That's why I love Jeopardy so much. Thank you for joining in. It's been a hot minute, and means a lot that you're here. Have a good time. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, like this whole thing about Hakeem Jeffries getting facing like a primary challenge. Yeah, it's not exactly Mamdani's place to say. It is disappointing, but when it comes to AOC, it's like that's what you should be there for. You should be like, like primary challenges are important, but with Mamdani, I think it was more about like, I need his endorsement, and maybe we can make a deal, like vice versa. He gets my endorsement. But Jeffries has got to fucking go. Jeffries is one of the worst House leaders like the Democrats could fucking ask for. Not to mention Chuck Schumer being the minority leader in the Senate, just absolutely fucking disgraceful. But I don't fault Mamdani at all for being like, my focus is on the people in New York City, the 5 boroughs. You know, he's not a congressman, he's not a senator, so he's going to do what he needs to do.
I really think he has a chance to do a great job. This is a man that right now I think is focused on New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job.
Absolutely,
But I'll let you
Megan.
answer that. You consider yourself the
Couldn't
leader of
agree
the
more.
Democrats. I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the
Couldn't agree
next
more.
mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City. And I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5
He's owning this entire fucking meeting. I love it.
boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal. I always said, one of the things I would have loved to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. It could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance.
I think he actually means that, because Trump is always so fucking full of shit. But I actually do believe that. I think if he had his way, he would rather just be mayor of New York rather than president, because there's actually because there's a lot less responsibilities, a lot less headaches, a lot less ass kissing that you have to do yourself, a lot more things. There's a lot less worries in general. I don't think Trump enjoys being president. He likes the power. He likes having his name on everything. He likes the perception of popularity. But I don't know. Maybe it's just speculation, but I think if he could take it back and just be mayor of New York, he'd probably actually just do that.
To make it.
You see the turkey party today? I did not. Oh, I bet that was fucking hilarious. Since that's such a weird tradition. That's such a weird American tradition. It could be cute, I'm sure, but I'll have to look that up. We'll probably watch it after this. We got like 5 minutes left of this.
Great.
Mr. President, you said you love
Hey.
Mr. Mamdani. Does New York City love President Trump?
New York City loves a future that is affordable. And I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living. And I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more. Go ahead. One or two more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing.
He spent half the time calling Pritzker a fat slob. Oh my god. Oh man. Wonder how Pritzker's going to respond to that. Pritzker's not very. He's not exactly the aggressive type. Like he's fine for what he is, I guess you could say. I prefer him over Newsom any fucking day of the week, but he needs to be a lot more cutting edge, for lack of a better phrase. Of course, Trump is. Shit.
I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone to, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares, but they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this?
Because I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way. But I think he's different than your typical guy. Runs, wins, becomes mayor, maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point, and he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed.
I agree,
We're going to be
Trump.
helping him, but he's different than your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of nowhere. Would you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, "Who is this guy?" He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9, then he went up to 17. I said, "Let's get a little bit interesting, right?" And then all of a sudden he went.
Trump really does pay close attention to the polls, and he always has. He just wants to see the numbers. He's kind of been that way his whole life. So there's no way in hell that he hasn't seen his polling numbers decline. That's for damn sure. But he's basically admitting here, like, yeah, he followed the New York City mayoral race pretty closely since the beginning.
It's a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal and also in thinking about what it can look
That's right. They had a photo op in front of his portrait.
like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
You know, we have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the man saw that portrait,
You're
he said,
referring
"Do you
to
mind if I
Trump,
have a picture
right?
taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope
It
the
is.
picture comes out good,
It is.
but it's an amazing portrait in the cabinet room.
Yeah.
So he's a big fan of the New Deal, I guess, and of FDR. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, you said that you both spoke about crime.
Yeah.
There are many police officers that come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? Are you going to require that that happens? Would there be some consequences?
Well, I hope it happens, but again, that's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD. And I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction?
Bingo. God, I really, really hope that he ends up just being the most transformative mayor that New York has probably ever seen.
From what you're at right now, are you committing to maintain the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the
And
campaign.
not replace them with caseworkers and so forth?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes,
If
we
the,
did.
if
Commissioner Fish.
the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Are there some topics that you disagree on in the future, and do you think you'll have one to do with this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately, he'll convince me, or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable. If he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think that'll be more in the future? Do you think there'll be a better future of Robin?
I think we will. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican always defined his campaign multiple
Yep.
times by calling Zora Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't. But she's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person.
isn't
But
that
you really have to ask her about that. But I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person.
Well, funny thing about Elise Stefanik is that like she's basically facing the ire of the entire MAGA movement right now because of something we're about to talk about in a little bit. The viral military memo that she was a part of. We'll get to that in a little bit.
With a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along. And it went bad. It really went, pretty bad. And I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now, the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before, which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
And yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, Trump really respects him. Like he gives like check this out.
And if he can, we'll
Look
be out
right
there
here.
cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
Handshake, eye contact, pat on the hand. Yeah, we're done with the meeting. I'm done. I'm over this. Let's go. Yeah. Just truly remarkable stuff. Really cool. Yeah, that's right. It's okay if you call me a fascist. Yeah, very, very cool stuff. And thanks to Trump for actually providing me with a good segue into this military memo that went out. Viral military memo. Disobey illegal orders. Let's see. Now, is there actually... Okay, we'll just... Now, is there an actual... Sorry, I'm just like trying to like actually look for it. Either way, so
Congressman Chris Deluzio joined 5 other Democratic lawmakers, all of them military or intelligence community veterans, to urge current officials to disobey illegal orders. Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin, a former CIA analyst, posted the video. The lawmakers say threats to the Constitution are just coming from abroad.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws.
the Constitution and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Slotkin told the New York Times that she's heard from active duty troops who are concerned about the legality of strikes on people the Trump administration says are drug traffickers. The administration called the video an attempt to encourage the military to rebel against.
Yeah, that's actually the major thing that's been going on is the unilateral strikes being carried out on what's essentially fishermen boats and whatnot, just off the coast of Colombia and Venezuela, and it's becoming increasingly clear that those are just fucking civilians. The Department of War, as it's called now, is not producing actual evidence that these are drug boats or anything like that, and it's like. The drugs that the Republicans have been the Republicans have been pointing out as causing so much trouble and havoc in the United States. It's not coming from Venezuela. Like, Venezuela doesn't produce any of that shit. It's just lies. It's just from my perspective, it is them just trying to start a conflict, because Venezuela has a shitload of oil and a shitload of rare minerals. There's a particular one, I forget its name, but it's basically used in a lot of components that big tech relies on, our military relies on, and access to those resources can prove to be very fruitful for decades to come. So that's why this has been happening. And it goes beyond these strikes too, because the viral video that we just saw, which include people like Alyssa Slotkin and Mark Kelly, basically ex-CIA members, ex-intelligence, ex-military, et cetera, not the best group of people, especially Slotkin. She's particularly fucking awful. It's also referring to maybe the National Guard or ICE agents, which aren't exactly the military, but emphasizing the importance and the legal duty of those in uniform to disobey illegal orders. And that's like the key thing, illegal orders. And now you have a shitload of Maga, including Trump. And this all would have went away if Trump didn't make a big deal of it on Truth Social. Like, these Democrats should be hanged, basically. They should be put to death. Not even kidding. That's basically exactly what he said with his reposts and his position on this. You have Pete Hegseth too. I'm pretty sure he's the one that really got in Trump's ear about this. Is like, we need the military in order to maintain our grip, our control, and if our servicemen and women are, being cast in doubt on their duties, so to speak, that spells trouble for us, because we need to have like an iron grip, and we need to rule with an iron fist, And it just goes to show, it's like, what orders could you possibly have in mind that would have you concerned that, you won't have full compliance over the troops that you command? Do we have to pick up a history book? Like, do we have to go back to Nuremberg to remind MAGA in general why it's not okay to just follow orders? You know? Like, they're counting on the illiteracy of their base, you know, and the fact that, like, the fact that they're leaving out the most important word in that viral memo, illegal, it's being done on purpose. And now a whole lot of morons, a whole lot of idiot Trump supporters, a whole lot of MAGA, and even a lot of veterans or people who even support the troops are like, how dare all these Democrats, all these traitors tell our troops that it's okay not to obey orders from Trump. You're supposed to obey the president. And that's not even like remotely close to the truth. That's not what was reflected in the video that they put out and released. And it's not even the response. It's not even the duty of our servicemen and women to begin with. They have a loyalty to the Constitution, not the president. So if an unlawful order is issued, they are legally obliged not to follow it. And apparently they're like routinely reminded of this. So again, this would have been a nothing burger if it wasn't for the overreaction from Trump as well as Pete Hegseth. God, he's such a fucking moron. So aside from that, I guess we'll just finish off on this. We're going to watch Marjorie Taylor Greene resignation speech. Here we go. Well, is this the full thing? This is a little long.
Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene announced that she intends to resign from Congress in January. She recorded a video message explaining her decision. Here's a look.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same, no matter which way the political pendulums.
Now, I want everybody to take this entire thing with a grain of salt because her resignation day, I think she announced it's going to be January 5th, and that's like the day after I think her pension hits, something like that. So she's going to cash out. That's what she's doing. You know, she's a millionaire. She's going to get some big money. But there's a lot more layers to this. There are quite a few things that inspired this thing. So there's definitely some truth to be said, like in what she's saying here, especially this little bit.
I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more.
Now, she's a Republican. Of course, she'd say that. That's Republican politics 101. That's how a lot of Republican media frames the fight, frames the divide. And you know, there's something to it. You know, well, let's just get through this.
And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses
Yeah.
continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned
Yep.
tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline.
Yep, yep,
The
yep.
average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today,
Mhm.
many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day, believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy.
Oh,
Strong, safe borders,
sure.
I have fought
Okay.
hard for that. I fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time. And we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history.
And the fact that she's been there through like three different election cycles, because congressmen and women have to get reelected every 2 years. It's true. Once like it's an election year, that's all the focus is. Like campaigning, raising enough money, fundraising, and everything else kind of goes out the window. So coming from her, she's seen it firsthand. I don't dispute that for a second.
We are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives.
That's it.
During the longest shutdown in our nation's history.
And there's also something else to this too. Apparently, she's not the only one that there's actually an exodus being rumored. There's some more Republicans in the House that might actually follow her and announce resignation soon as well. There might be a big MAGA exodus coming, but we'll see.
I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas, just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced.
It goes to show just like how much those issues are harped away at by conservative media, and it just goes nowhere. It really makes you think, because it's like, how evil are the Republicans really? Oh, and don't get me wrong, they're fucking evil. But why wouldn't these particular issues be prioritized? Maybe they don't actually believe it. It's just red meat for the base.
By paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid Americans on us calling for a new census counting every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only.
And they're executive orders too. And it also goes to show, like, Trump doesn't actually write his own executive orders to begin with.
To draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas. Just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media, obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have. They know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and no food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their Visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I've been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard left politically biased.
That's still a lie that seems to be perpetuated fucking time and time again. The borders were never open. There was never open borders under Joe Biden.
NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than NPR, dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as
Now, that's a whole bunch of bullshit, obviously.
Chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican.
Speaking of DOJ, that no longer exists. DOJ is gone. Disbanded. It's gone. I mean, fucking good, but the fucking damage is done. Doesn't really matter now. Fucking whoever hacked into whoever Doge kids hacked into the Treasury or the Office of Management and Budget. Is that what it was? Whatever the fuck it was. All the various agencies and shit. They have all our information. They have all our data. They just extracted all of it, and it was just all allowed to happen.
To elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely should have been impeached for that. But now he attacks you personally, and all of a sudden he's not a good guy, huh?
Areas like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title.
Wow, I cannot believe that one of the cultists finally actually grew her brain. What? Loyalty's a two-way street? What? You what? Oh, no wonder the cult's just completely done with her, and everybody's turning against her right now and shit. It's oh no, you can't go against your leader. No siree, no way, no how.
Is literally street. My voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the president of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with.
Just keep in mind, every single thing that Trump has done up until this point was totally fine until the Epstein files became the biggest issue of the year, and she came to realize, oh, Republicans don't actually really value women.
Joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God, who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable
Yeah, we can agree on that.
for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family. But it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity.
Yeah, it's just crazy how, like, for years and years, you've fucking bought into with a face to pause on. For years and years, you smeared and attacked the trans community and the left for being predators and whatnot, despite there being no evidence and whatnot for any of that. Like, that there's some nefarious agenda, that there's some trans agenda that's going after kids and making just to make them all trans and shit, despite there being like no actual concrete evidence for any of that. Yet, like, now, like, there's countless examples and mountains of evidence now for Trump being a fucking predator that you completely ignored for years and years until now, because now, like, you're directly implicated, as in you're being you actually want something to be done about it, and you can't handle the fact that, like, Trump is like, he's like a centerpiece in all of it. Like, what exactly changed? Like, the fact that, like what did you expect to happen? Trump was associated with Epstein for years, the most notorious sex trafficker, pedophile in the world. But you just looked at everything like through rose-colored glasses. You just couldn't accept it. Is that why you harped away so hard at like trans people being predators or some shit? When there was your own, like, people within your own party, you'd be hard pressed to find a trans person or someone of the LGBTQ who is a bona fide predator compared to coaches, pastors, youth group leaders, Republican politicians. Like, those are the fucking predators that you're so worried about. Just so misguided. I have no sympathy for her, honestly.
I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I'm cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being.
That's actually that's a line that actually goes pretty hard, though.
Military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never, ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. Yeah. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live.
So at least in that regard, she's actually, like, very spot on. And I'm glad that she at least came to that conclusion, because we can actually see eye to eye on that without a doubt. I think most Americans can.
live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless.
Bye-bye. See ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. All right, that's it. Hour and a half is about pretty good for me. I'm pretty much done. I will very likely be joining Dieter on his channel. And I'll probably be streaming on this channel as well because he does a show called This Space every week, I believe. I think it has something to do with the DSA because he's a part of the Democratic Socialists of America. So I'll very likely be joining him tomorrow afternoon around 4 Pacific Standard Time, and I hope to see you guys there. Thank you guys for joining. I said my show last week, don't call this a comeback, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty good. Don't know if I'll keep at this at the same exact rate, but if you guys show up, it'll make this a whole lot more worth it. You guys have a good night, and thank you all for joining once again.